Hey everybody, before we get started, I just wanted to say, if you enjoy our content and want to stay up to date with our videos, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Thanks. So, on to the video.
The story picks up 2 years after the defeat of Corypheus. The Inquisition has been summoned to Orlais by the new Divine. You are to meet with the leaders of Orlais and Ferelden to decide what should be done next with the Inquisition. Orlais wishes to continue to work with the Inquisition, but it is obvious behind the scenes they are making moves to take control. Ferelden wishes for the Inquisition to be dismantled, as they believe it has served its purpose and is no longer needed. Additionally, Skyhold is located on Ferelden's soil, and having a standing army close by makes them nervous. When you arrive, Mother Giselle is the one to greet you. She gives you more information on the state of things. After 2 years, your companions have regathered at the Winter Palace to support the Inquisition. Before the council meeting goes underway, you take time to speak with your old companions and see how things have been going for them. After getting updates from your companions, you head into the palace to face the Exalted Council. No matter what, the discussions do not seem to be going well. During the debate, you are summoned by one of your informants as something desperately needs your attention. You leave to check it out, leaving Josephine behind to deal with the nobles. You find a dead Qunari warrior. It seems as though he came out of nowhere. He is clearly a frontline soldier and not a spy. The whole scene is extremely suspicious. Most of the Qunari warrior's wounds were from magic, but few from a blade. It seems as though the warrior was attacked, separated from the rest of the forces, and somehow made it to the Winter Palace before he bled out and died. Determined to find out what is going on, you look for clues around the area. You find a trail of blood that leads to a room on the second floor in the palace. Inside, you find an Eluvian. The Eluvian takes you to some old elven ruins in the middle of a valley. While exploring, with your magic mark, you're able to unseal a door. From the door, you gain visions from the past. It seems as though in the past, this was a place of rest set up by the Dreadwolf Fen'Harel for fleeing elven slaves. The first message is a promise that the Dreadwolf and his people guard this area, and that the runaway elves will never be bound again. In the next tower, you unlock another door and experience another vision. The next vision is about how Fen'Harel has been mistakenly labeled a god, but he is mortal like every other elf. From the visions, it seems as though the Dreadwolf did not want those he saved to worship him as a god. He wished to lead those who followed him willingly and by their own choice. Deeper into the ruins, you get a third vision. You see images of the Evunaris, powerful elven mages who claim themselves gods to the masses, enslaving tens of thousands. It seems as though Fen'Harel was teaching elves the truth of the Evunaris' lies, that they were mortal just like everyone else. In the fourth vision, it is revealed that the face tattoos Dalish elves wear are actually slave brands. Fen'Harel would remove these brands from his followers to oppose the Evunaris further. While exploring, the anchor begins to start acting up, discharging large amounts of energy on its own. Deep into the sanctuary, you fight through Qunari soldiers that have overtaken the ruins. It looks as though they've been here for some time. They even were able to activate the Eluvians in the area. You eventually find a report stating that the Qunari were placed in these ruins because the Eluvians here led to the Winter Palace. From the sound of it, they were using the mirrors to infiltrate the palace. There is also a report of an unknown intruder that used the Eluvians and activated the ruins protectors. This mage was most likely the one who wounded and killed the initial Qunari warrior. You head back to speak to your council about your findings. They are confused as the Qunari have no real reason to be using Eluvians or attack the Inquisition. Negotiations with the Exalted Council are also not going well. Currently, Orlais and Ferelden are ununited in their views, but as soon as they cooperate, the current Divine will have no choice but to support them. Believing the Qunari threat is more important, you head back through the Eluvian to find more information. Through the crossroads, you find another pathway that takes you into the deep roads. Inside, you meet a man begging you to stop the Vitasala. If you have Iron Bull with you, he explains that the Vitasala is a high-ranking Ben Hassrath agent that specializes in finding, studying, and stopping magic. The man claims that he does not care if you serve Fen'Harel. Someone has to stop the Vitasala. From the conversation, you gather that the Vidasala believes the Inquisition is compromised and are actually all servants of the Dreadwolf. The man describes that the Dreadwolf's agents have been sabotaging the Qunari in the Crossroads, making things more difficult. The man himself is an ex-Templar that joined the Qunari after the events of Dragon Age 2. He claims that the Vidasala's plan is as mad as Meredith ever was and wants no part of it. Instead of trying to stop magic, the Vidasala is embracing it. They are mining lyrium in the deep roads and feeding it to their mages for a plan called Dragon's Breath, apparently to save the South. With the ex-Templar, you concoct the plan to set off explosive barrels to destroy the mine, cutting the Qunari off from their only lyrium supply. After you complete your plan, you head back to the Winter Palace and speak to your council. They're confused why the Qunari would believe that the Inquisition serves Fen Harel. During the meeting, the Exalted Council members come in complaining that they were not warned about the Qunari corpse and that one of your men attacked a servant. You look into the matter and find that one of your elven guards attacked the servant after he would not comply. The servant was transporting a very familiar looking large barrel, the same type of explosive barrels that were in the Qunari mine. The servant tries to convince you that he was transferring wine. You can arrest either of the elves. You then report to Liliana that someone has been smuggling explosive barrels into the palace. Liliana believes that these barrels are part of the Dragon's Breath plan. She believes the Qunari invasion through the Illuvians would still have met fierce resistance, but if everyone were to die at the Winter Palace from an explosion, Orlais and Ferelden would be leaderless and vulnerable to attack. You then give Liliana a note that was found at the scene. The note are plans on where to place the explosive barrels and instructions to head to the Illuvian marked with a bookcase once their task was complete. You head to the mentioned Illuvians while Liliana has her people remove the barrels and sends word to other possible target locations to check. The Illuvian leads to a massive ancient elven library. A spirit of an archivist gives you more information on the location. This place is called the Verdithara, the living knowledge of the Empire. The location is the collective knowledge of every city and court of the ancient elven empire. The elves created this pocket dimension connecting their world through the Fade. But when the veil was created, separating the Fade and world, the Verdithara became fractured and unstable. You ask the spirit if it has seen the Vidasala, and it says it has. The Vidasala has been gathering information, researching the veil, but it does not know why. You meet fractures of this archivist spirit throughout the library, giving you more information. The first is a recording of ancient elves cursing the Dreadwolf for creating the veil, revealing as well that the Fade and the waking world used to be one and the same until his actions. The second spirit describes the events that happened after the veil was created. The Dreadwolf suddenly disappeared, and elven society began to crumble as their connection with magic was severely weakened due to the veil. Deep into the library, you catch up to the Vidasala. The Vidasala believes that now that Corypheus is gone, that you should not be able to walk free. She also hints that she may know more what's happening with the anchor, as she notes that she can see the mark pains you. The Vidasala believes the chaos in the south is proof that those not under the Qun cannot control their magic. So she planned to kill all the heads of state at once to take control. But the followers of Fen Harel disrupted her plans. You try to ask why she thinks the Inquisition has ties to the Dreadwolf, but she ignores you and sends her minions to try and finish you off. After the battle, you follow, but she is long gone. The spirit in the area informs you where she went, a location called Davarad. You then head back to inform your council of your findings. Liliana confirms that explosives were found in multiple key locations across Thedas. The Winter Palace was not the only target. Josephine is positive this situation will show the Exalted Council the Inquisition still has value, but Liliana believes things will most likely get worse. As the explosives were brought in through the Inquisition, your own people have been compromised. Liliana investigated and noticed several elven workers have gone missing recently. A background check showed the elves were refugees from Kirkwall. Cullen then notes that many of the elves converted to the Qun, looking for a better life after the horrors they experienced in Kirkwall. Thus, the Qunari most likely converted many of these elves to spies. Josephine is upset as she has defended the Inquisition against the Exalted Council, but now with all that is going on, she is starting to have doubts. Your council begins to argue, but then your hand starts to surge with energy again causing you massive amounts of pain. It is getting worse. You leave your council to handle matters as you head to Davarad to find the Vitasala. You arrive at an Eluvian graveyard. There are hundreds of mirrors scattered about. It seems as though the Qunari have been studying these mirrors for quite some time now. You fight through the Qunari base until you reach another Eluvian in the back. Before the Vitasala enters it, she takes some time to confront you. Your mark is discharging even more energy now. She says that your time is almost up, and that if the agents of Fen'Harel are not stopped, they too may shatter the world. You try to get through to her that you are not working with Fen'Harel, but she ignores you and begins to state the information she gathered from her spy.
The Inquisition has nothing to do with these agents.
Come, Inquisitor. I am the eyes and ears of the Qunari people. Do you think you can deceive me? You would have died from the mark on your hand, but for the help of one of their chief agents. The same agent who helped seal the breach, who led you to Skyhold, who gave Corypheus the orb, then founded the Inquisition. Solus, agent of Fen'Harel.
Damn it, Chuckles. What have you done?
You are in shock. The Vitasala is surprised you knew so little. She states Solus tricked everyone. He was the one who pushed the dying Qunari warrior through the Eluvian, thus luring you into a confrontation and foiling her plans. If she had her way, Orlais and Ferelden would have fallen quickly, but now they will have to do it the old-fashioned way, a full-scale invasion. Your mark begins to discharge, bringing you to your knees. She leaves into the Eluvian, promising Solus will not outlive you. You follow her through the Eluvian. The Vitasala is after Solus. The Eluvian leads to more ancient elven ruins. Hordes of Qunari troops are in your way. You do not have much time left, as your mark is rapidly increasing in power. You battle your way through the ruins until you reach the final Eluvian and enter. Inside you see dozens of Qunari troops turned to stone. You catch up to the Vitasala and Solus. Solus tells her to leave and to warn the Qunari to trouble him no further. He then turns to walk away, but the Vitasala attacks. Solus instantly turns her into stone. You walk up from behind and call out to him, your mark bringing you down to your knees. Solus casts a spell to alleviate the pain for now. He knows you may have many questions. The mark was bestowed by the Orb of Fen'Harel, his orb. He reveals that he is indeed the Dreadwolf himself, Fen'Harel. His true name is indeed Solus, but he was later named Fen'Harel by others. In his time, the Dreadwolf inspired hope to his friends and fear in his enemies. You ask if the legends of Fen'Harel are true. He confirms that he sought to free his people from the Avunaris and freed anyone who wished to join him. When the Avunaris murdered Mythal, Solus formed the Veil and banished them forever, but in doing this, caused the collapse of the Elven Empire. He believes that if he had not created the Veil, the Avunaris would have eventually destroyed the entire world. Solus reawoke to the world a year before he joined the Inquisition. He regrets the damage the creation of the Veil did to his people and seeks to restore them, even if it means the current world must die. You try to convince Solus, but he sees no other way. The original plan was to have Corypheus unlock the orb, as Solus was too weak at the time. Then after he perished from the explosion, Solus would recover the orb and tear down the Veil. In that chaos, Solus planned to restore the world of the elves. But he did not realize Corypheus unlocked the secret of immortality, complicating his plans. Solus takes no joy in what he believes he has to do. Rather than the world fall to the Qun from a Qunari invasion, would rather people live out their last years in comfort. Your mark begins to act up again. Solus was able to stop it for now, but it will eventually kill you. He gives his farewells and walks away into an Eluvian. Some time passes and you walk into the Exalted Council, now missing your left arm. You're then given a choice on how to continue with the Inquisition. Everyone is now aware the threat posed by Solus and his followers. Your choice will affect corruption in the Inquisition and how strong your efforts against Solus will be. And in the final scene, we see our Inquisitor planning their next move.
We have what we truly need.
We will need to be careful.
Solus knows everything about us. Who we are, how we work, our strengths and weaknesses.
Then we find people he doesn't know. We will save our friend from himself. If we can.